When the cameras started rolling, no one in the room expected to cry. This was supposed to be another Hollywood interview, a look back at a legendary career, a few laughs, a few memories. But within minutes, voices cracked, eyes filled. Silence replaced applause. Rob Reiner, the man who made the world laugh, love, and believe in stories, was quietly saying goodbye. What unfolded wasn't just an interview, it was a confession, a reckoning. And by the end, even the journalists knew they had just witnessed something unforgettable. This is the story behind Rob Reiner's final interview and why it left everyone in tears. Rob Reiner was born into storytelling before he ever understood what the word meant. Born Robert Norman Reiner on March 6, 1947, in the Bronx, New York City, his childhood home was alive with laughter, scripts, and late-night conversations about comedy and culture. His father, Carl Reiner, wasn't just a performer. He was a defining force in American entertainment, shaping classics like Your Show of Shows and The Dick Van Dyke Show. His mother, Estelle Reiner, brought her own sharp wit and musical talent. In that household, creativity wasn't encouraged. It was expected. From an early age, Rob Reiner absorbed the rhythm of humor and the discipline behind it. Comedy wasn't about jokes. It was about timing, honesty, and truth. That foundation followed him to UCLA Film School, where his interest in directing and storytelling began to take shape. Though acting came naturally, those who knew him understood something important. Rob Reiner didn't just want to perform stories. He wanted to control them. America first truly met him in 1971, when he stepped into the role of Michael "Meathead" Stivic on the groundbreaking sitcom All in the Family. Loud, idealistic, argumentative, and deeply human, Meathead became the voice of a younger generation clashing with tradition. Over 8 seasons, Rob Reiner balanced humor with empathy, turning political tension into meaningful comedy. The role earned him widespread acclaim and multiple Emmy nominations, securing his place in television history. But comfort was never the destination for Rob Reiner. At the very moment when fame as an actor could have carried him effortlessly, for decades he made a choice that terrified many around him. He stepped away from the safety of the spotlight and walked behind the camera toward uncertainty. It wasn't ego driving him, it was hunger. A need to tell stories on his own terms, to shape truth instead of simply delivering lines. That decision would quietly alter the course of modern cinema. In 1984, Rob Reiner co-created This Is Spinal Tap, a film so authentic, so sharply observed, that audiences genuinely questioned whether the band was real. It wasn't just funny, it was revolutionary. Comedy had never looked like this before. The film didn't announce its brilliance loudly. It let realism do the work. And in doing so, it changed comedy filmmaking forever, inspiring generations who realized satire could feel more real than reality itself. What followed was something almost unheard of in Hollywood: complete creative command across genres. With The Sure Thing and Stand By Me, Rob Reiner turned his lens toward youth, not as nostalgia, but as vulnerability. Stand By Me, adapted from Stephen King, wasn't about childhood innocence. It was about fear, loss, and the moment you realize the world will never protect you again. Decades later, it still resonates because it understands something universal. Growing up hurts, and friendship is often the only thing that saves us. In 1987, Rob Reiner delivered The Princess Bride, a film that dared to be sincere in an industry growing increasingly cynical. Romance without embarrassment, humor without cruelty, love without irony. It became timeless not because it tried to be clever, but because it believed in kindness, in loyalty, and in happy endings earned through heart. Then came When Harry Met Sally in 1989, a film that forever redefined the romantic comedy. Its dialogue felt real because it was real, awkward, defensive, honest. It didn't promise perfect love, only enduring love. The film wasn't just funny. It was emotionally precise. And that honesty is why it still lives decades later. Just when audiences thought they understood him, Rob Reiner shattered expectations again with Misery, proving he could command psychological terror as powerfully as laughter. His meticulous direction led Kathy Bates to an unforgettable Academy Award-winning performance. And then came A Few Good Men, a courtroom drama fueled by moral confrontation, where words became weapons and truth came at a cost. It wasn't just a film, it was a cultural moment. Few filmmakers ever reached such a creative peak. Fewer still do it across comedy, drama, romance, horror, and courtroom thrillers and make each feel definitive. Off-screen, his life carried the same emotional complexity. In 1971, Rob Reiner married Penny Marshall, forming one of Hollywood's most creatively charged unions. He adopted her daughter, Tracy Reiner, as his own, not as an obligation, but as an act of love. Their home was filled with warmth, chaos, and artistic energy. Though their marriage ended in 1981, its emotional imprint never disappeared. Because some chapters don't end, they echo. And through it all, Rob Reiner kept doing what he had always done best, telling stories that mattered even when they hurt. During the production of When Harry Met Sally, fate quietly stepped in and changed everything. Rob Reiner met photographer Michelle Singer, and what began as a chance encounter quickly became something deeper. Their connection wasn't dramatic or loud. It was steady, grounding, and transformative. It reshaped how Reiner saw love itself. So much so that it reached the screen. Inspired by their growing relationship, he made a pivotal creative decision, rewriting the film's ending and choosing hope over uncertainty. That single change gave the story its enduring heartbeat. In 1989, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer married, building a life rooted not in Hollywood excess, but in intention. Together, they raised 3 children, Jake, Nick, and Romy, in a home filled with creativity, laughter, and values that mattered. Family wasn't something Reiner spoke about abstractly. It was the center of his world, the place where success and failure were both put into perspective. Their compassion didn't stop at their own front door. In 1997, the couple founded the I Am Your Child Foundation, driven by a belief that the earliest years of life shape everything that follows. When that mission expanded, so did their resolve. In 2004, they launched Parents Action for Children, combining education with advocacy to push for policies that supported families across the nation. For Rob Reiner, storytelling had evolved into action. That same conviction defined his public voice. Outspoken and unafraid, Rob Reiner used his platform to champion education, public health, and civic responsibility. Much like Meathead on All in the Family, he believed silence was complicity. Whether praised or criticized, he never retreated. Because for him, conscience mattered more than comfort. Religion, however, remained complicated. Raised in a culturally Jewish household, Rob Reiner underwent a bar mitzvah, though he later described it as symbolic rather than spiritual. His father, Carl Reiner, openly struggled with faith after confronting the reality of the Holocaust, eventually identifying as atheist. That skepticism deeply influenced Rob's worldview. On January 13, 2012, during an appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher, Rob Reiner openly identified as atheistic, grounding his beliefs in reason rather than tradition. Yet he remained curious, expressing appreciation for Buddhist philosophy, particularly ideas of mindfulness and compassion. Then came what would quietly become his final interview. There were no theatrics, no performance. Sitting across from the cameras, Rob Reiner felt different, calmer, softer, as if he understood the weight of the moment. "I've always believed stories can change people," he said. "A laugh, a tear, a moment of understanding. That's how we reach each other." His words carried the certainty of a man who had spent his life proving that truth.